And is long COVID just a thiamine deficiency? How I battled this perplexing syndrome. In March 2020, March 11th specifically, I remember that, it's my dad's birthday, the country was preparing for a shutdown. We thought it was only going to be 2 weeks. I had to tie up loose ends at my business, my family business, insurance agency. I had other things I needed to do tax wise. It was tax season. And I had to drop off my tax forms at my accountant's office. So I'm standing there and waiting. And all of a sudden, I felt this hit me like a ton of bricks. It felt like the flu. But there was some other weird things that were feeling. I was feeling like a heaviness in my chest, kind of like a burning sensation in my lungs that felt cold. I can't explain it. I have never felt anything like it since, except for maybe some other time that I'd gotten COVID. There's ways to know once you've had this what it's like when you get it again. It's nothing like the original thing. But anyway, so I was just like, whoa. And I said to the people there, I said, look, there's something going around. We all know about it. I feel really miserable. Keep your distance and disinfect that doorknob after I leave, please. Welcome to Trust Your Gut with Tanya. I am Tanya Abatello, a functional nutrition strategist and wellness practitioner who helps high-performing individuals resolve chronic, complex health issues that haven't responded to conventional approaches. There's a lot of them now, aren't there? With a background in biology and technology, I take a system-based, investigative approach, identifying root causes, optimizing nutrition, and regulating the nervous system to create highly personalized protocols that actually work. I also integrate Kundalini Yoga, Pilates, and sound healing to help clients not just heal, but fundamentally recalibrate how their body functions under stress. Please subscribe. So when I got home, I collapsed into bed. And this was just the beginning of a few weeks of bizarre rotating symptoms that would keep me thinking. Just when I started to feel like I was getting better, something else would come in. Anybody who has experienced, I'm sure there's a lot of you out there experienced COVID like I did, where it was like, I don't know, all of a sudden, somewhere around day 10, you felt great. And then day 11, you crash again. The most debilitating things that I was experiencing that were long-term was dizziness and a headache. The body pains were little reminders of every broken bone or sprained wrist I'd ever had. It felt like something was attacking me at all of my weak points. Strangely, I couldn't get a full breath. I'd inhale and it was just stop. I would try to breathe. Nice deep breath. It felt almost like paralysis of the diaphragm. I mean, as anybody that knows me well enough now knows that at that time I was just Googling and trying to figure out everything. Meantime, I had to sleep with my window cracked in the middle of March. It was cold, and have that breeze on me to feel like I actually could breathe. So it was almost like I was just like giving myself oxygen. It was a little bit crazy. So other symptoms would follow: disorientation, dizziness, tinnitus, tingling in my hands and feet. My head pounded, my liver hurt. I had chest pains and palpitations because no testing was happening yet. I was diagnosed only by my symptoms over the phone by a nurse at Yale New Haven Hospital. I actually had to call them and talk to them. And they're like, well, if you've got this and that and blah, blah, blah. Of course, they just were like, well, if you have a fever, here we go with the fever again. Some of us don't get fevers. I don't know what that's about. I need to look into that. That's a whole other topic for a different podcast at a later date. Fortunately, nobody in my home contracted it, despite being in close quarters to me. That was kind of weird. I had recovered eventually within a few months. It took a little while. But a few months after that, the dizziness, the strange tight feeling in my upper jaw, which is like, it was almost like this pressure in my sinuses that I was feeling in the upper palate up here. It was like this, I can't explain it. It's very strange. Spiky is the only way I can describe it. and the tingling in my hands and feet, it persisted. I was also still unable to get a full breath. That was the part where I was just like, what is this? I'd been doing as much research as possible to get through it the best I could. I drank gallons of chaga mushroom tea. I remember I had that brewing constantly. I took N-acetylcysteine. I remember there was some weird controversy around that. Extra vitamin D, mullein tea, which was a great expectorant, although I never had that where I had to cough anything up. That's what was really strange about this, right? And I also took extra vitamin C along my usual vitamin stack, but nothing was really helpful. I felt like I was irreparably harmed and would never get better. And I know it, you guys still suffering at the level that you're suffering at, you feel like this. There is a piece of the puzzle that's missing, that's not being addressed. That's what this means. And as I tried to work through this, I was also fastly approaching menopause. And some of the symptoms, like the hot and the cold flashes that people were experiencing with COVID, they intensified. And I was like, is this menopause or long COVID? And I'm linking my podcast discussing that here as well. So I figured out all the symptoms I had. I threw them into Google, and lo and behold, the internet starts spitting out things about beriberi, thiamine deficiency. And I was like, okay, well, what the heck is this anyway? So what is beriberi? It's a disease in which the body does not have enough thiamine, which is B1. It's like the first B vitamin, right? And sometimes it has something to do with the amount that's draining out. You're not getting enough in. You're not, maintaining enough. There's two types. There's wet beriberi, which affects the cardiovascular system, and dry beriberi and Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, which is like the real bad situation that affects the nervous system. And it continues. And I am quoting beriberi. I'm going to pay attention. It says here, beriberi is rare in the United States. This is because many foods are now vitamin enriched. We've had a discussion about vitamin enrichment before. If you eat a normal healthy diet, you should get enough thiamine. Should. There's some words in there, qualifiers. Today, beriberi occurs mostly in people who drink too much alcohol. There's a lot of people drinking too much alcohol. Drinking heavily can lead to poor nutrition, and excess alcohol makes it harder for the body to absorb and store vitamin B1. I am linking that as well to Medline. While I wasn't a drinker, I took high quality vitamins. I ate healthy foods and avoided processed foods that contained gluten. But wait, the USDA has been enriching the wheat flour with thiamine, and I had not been eating it. This is a cautionary tale. If you are avoiding enriched flours, honestly, a lot of us need to be. However, the assumption that is being made here is that you're eating all this enriched flour, so you're getting enough thiamine anyway. Well, a lot of people are trying to avoid that now. Some just don't eat it for health reasons. Some eat it because they can't eat it. Some are having problems with the gluten. Some are having problems with the folic acid. There's all these things happening all at once here. So what is thiamine? It's B1. It's a water-soluble essential vitamin, which means that the body easily flushes it out and does not make it. It means we need to get it through foods and or supplements. And I'm quoting, thiamine B1 is the first vitamin identified and a critical cofactor in cellular energy metabolism, nerve conduction, and myelin maintenance. Myelin is that fatty sheath that goes over the nerves. Think of an electric wire with an insulator on it, plastic insulator. Myelin is the plastic insulator. What happens when you take that off? Short circuiting happens, and your nervous system is not unlike an electrical system. We're talking almost the exact same thing. Vitamin B1, read this. Vitamin B1 deficiency is a common, under-recognized cause of multi-system illness that spans cardiovascular, neurologic, and metabolic complications across inpatient and outpatient settings. This is a different article from the National Institute of Health. They are admitting it's common. So, again, I didn't look at the dates on this. The other thing might have been, again, there's different reasons why different things are published about certain things. There could be a conflict of interest in the last article from the processed food lobby. Who knows, right? But the National Institute of Health in this article they are admitting that this is common. And I'm going to get into the reasons why it's common. So my vitamins alone weren't cutting it because in addition to not getting enough, I was also losing thiamine from the stress of the illness, which causes rapid depletion. There's a lot of things that cause the rapid depletion of thiamine. Again, it's another one of those things. You drink too much water, you'll flush it out. You have stress in your life, you'll flush it out. You have a chronic horrific illness like COVID or even the flu. There's some clues here to some other things here, by the way. Going through chickenpox, going through surgery, getting in a car accident, all of these things can deplete thiamine. And to further increase the complexity, and this is in quotes, of the clinical situation, thiamine deficiency may present in association with an infection, with some of the presenting features of the illness being due to the combined effects of the infection and the thiamine deficiency. This is what I'm saying here. I am not necessarily saying that the long COVID is being caused by the thiamine deficiency. I'm saying that it's being exacerbated and it may be presenting itself because the person already has this underlying deficiency. They may have been right on the edge of being deficient enough to cause some problems, and then this broke the camel's back. And I think that's what's happening. And just understanding the levels of vitamin deficiency that we have in this country right now, it makes a lot of sense that this could be something that really just pushes people right over the edge. I also have a gene variant that impairs my ability to process other B vitamins, which can cause an imbalance of thiamine. Up to 49% of the global population has some version of this gene variation. And I discussed this gene variant, also known as MTHFR, in another podcast I am linking here. So, what are the symptoms of long COVID? Tiredness or fatigue that interferes with daily life, symptoms that get worse after physical or mental effort. That's interesting, isn't it? Fever, respiratory and heart symptoms, difficulty breathing or shortness of breath. Coughing, chest pain, fast beating or pounding heart, known as heart palpitations. That was no fun. Neurological symptoms, difficulty thinking or concentrating, sometimes referred to as brain fog, headaches, sleep problems, dizziness when you stand up, also known as lightheadedness, pins and needles feelings, change in smell or taste, depression or anxiety, diarrhea, stomach pain, constipation, joint or muscle pain, rash, changes in menstrual cycles. That is not the complete list. There's some ridiculous number in the 100 plus of symptoms that this can cause. So that's why it's interesting that there are so many that overlap. And I listed them. This is all from the CDC in discussing long COVID. Okay. I am using mainstream sources here. This is mainstream information. There is no weirdness, woo woo, or tin hatter stuff happening here. This is the legit info. Unfortunately, my little caveat I'm going to say here is because the algorithms being trained to do certain things that, help certain groups and maybe not help other groups, that this information is probably being suppressed. And I can tell you right now that I know the algorithmic information on this particular podcast is going to drive my stats way down. I see that happen every time. If you are watching this and you find this interesting and you think that this is helpful information, please share it. Please share it. At this point, this kind of information needs to be peer-to-peer shared, because we cannot rely on algorithms to get this information out. There's too much in here that there are, and again, sounds like tin hatter. I am sorry. As my friend says, tin haberdashery. I'm here to try to tell you things that might help. I'm here to educate you. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This isn't medical advice. This is what I did. This is what I discovered. And I'm doing what I can to disseminate the information to you because it is getting harder to find the real good information due to all of the algorithms. So you can help me fight the algorithm by sharing this manually, please. And thank you. Back to our show. So, beriberi symptoms, thiamine deficiency. Well, what are they? So again, there's two different kinds. We have dry and wet beriberi, which I think are kind of weird names for them. But I know there's some crazy old medieval reason why. So the symptoms of dry beriberi include difficulty walking, loss of feeling, a sensation in hands and feet, loss of muscle function, or paralysis of the lower legs. That sounds a little like Guillain-Barré. I'm just going to say. Anyway, that's when you get something that happens from flu or from any kind of intervention, and then all of a sudden you start to go numb from the feet on up. Just saying, there's too many things here that pattern recognition is kicking things off for me here. Mental confusion. Hey, that's brain fog, isn't it? Pain, speech difficulties, strange eye movements, nystagmus. That's also along. These are all also, hint, spoiler alert, these are also long COVID symptoms. Tingling, vomiting, and symptoms of wet beriberi include awakening at night short of breath, increased heart rate, shortness of breath with activity, swelling of the lower legs. Again, and this is from Medline Plus. These are not all of the symptoms. These are some, and I've just illustrated them here just so you can see that there is an overlap. And I have a lovely Venn diagram that I've created that I've been waiting years to do because I'm like, there needs to be a Venn diagram that shows that these things overlap. So there is your visual aid. So high dose thiamine does in fact show promise. Benphytamine, whoa, hold on 1 second. This just jumped way ahead my notes. Okay, benphytamine is a fat-soluble form of thiamine, which more readily absorbs and assists the body in creating myelin. Again, remember what myelin is. It's that protective fatty layer that covers the nerves. TTFD, which I'm not going to go into the long length. TTFD is another form that is important for addressing the symptoms of the more dire deficiency and is even administered in clinical settings to alcoholics upon hospital admission. Mainstream treatment for alcoholism. When they find them and they got to put them in there and they're all, that's what they're doing. They're giving them IV thiamine in that form. But because the B vitamins work together, it is crucial. I'm going to say this one more time. Because B vitamins work together, it is crucial that a good B complex also be taken at the same time. You can't just go taking one B vitamin. It is no bueno. You need to be having a good B complex. B vitamins are in a complex for a good reason, because when you take one, it knocks the rest off. Earlier, when I was discussing this MTHFR thing, what that does is that messes with folate, not folic acid, but folate and B12. So when those get knocked off, the thiamine gets knocked off. And this is a delicate cascading type of complex that needs to be taken together. I'm quoting here. The results reported in this case series suggest that thiamine replacement could have a beneficial effect in COVID-19 associated encephalopathy, improving functional outcomes and reducing mortality. So that's, brain issues, brain swelling, anything that is, there's a myologic encephalopathy, also ME, which is dealing with post-viral syndromes in general. Some people end up with all kinds of chronic illnesses there and MS, things like that. Again, MS, think about what MS is if you're familiar at all. The myelin sheaths on the nerves are getting stripped right off. Probably, I would think, high dose thiamine probably could help that too. And what causes it? What sets it off? It's usually there is some kind of virus or another artificial intervention that contains something virus-like that causes an overload in the body systems. All of the thiamine gets used up because there's already low stores to begin with. Maybe the person's one of that 49% of the population that has that MTHFR thing on top of it. This is all the profile of what happened to me, but it's not that rare. Okay. So I did post the link as well to that National Institute of Health article about that. This one is really interesting, and I got a kick out of this. The conclusions in this study, the next study that I'm quoting, our findings indicate that vitamin B1 administration can significantly reduce the duration of post-acute COVID-19 syndrome. For post-acute COVID-19 patients, vitamin B1 supplementation along with appropriate supportive therapy, again, is recommended to enhance recovery rates. When I ever saw that come out, the vindication. I'm like, yes, love it. So glad. It's great. I love solving these problems. And it's great. I get to solve them for myself. This is why it's not fair. I can't keep this to myself. I tell you guys, right? So, alpha lipoic acid for peripheral neuropathy. So, in conjunction with benphthiamine, which is, remember, that fat-soluble form of thiamine, alpha lipoic acid, which is a master antioxidant, safely assists in the repair of peripheral nerves. In this quote, the 12-week oral treatment with a fixed dose combination of alpha lipoic acid, ALA, and B vitamins is effective in treating systemic DSPN and safe. It's saying safe, and this is the medrxiv.org article study. And the reason why I went that direction as opposed to the TTFD, which I did take for a little period of time, some of them contain different forms of thiamine to kind of hit it from every angle because you really don't know what will help. Everybody's different. I got a shout out to Elliot Overton. He is really the guy that is the high dose thiamine guy. And in his group, he talks about it. He's on Facebook. I don't think he does any coaching one-to-one anymore on this. So I am listed as one of the practitioners that is trained in his methodology around this because I became obsessed with it. I still struggle a little bit with my peripheral neuropathy. And I thought that it might have been because, yeah, well, I had diabetes, like pre-diabetes, and I'm prone to it. And maybe I'm starting to get that. The other thing too, my test results were kind of crazy afterwards. My lipid profile was messed up. My A1C had gone up, like all of these things. These are not indicators that you're unhealthy because your diet necessarily. These are indicators that your body is under some kind of chronic inflammation and duress. So when people were coming out of COVID, they were experiencing their labs being really messed up. It doesn't mean that you're messed up for life. It just means that in that short time, in that period of time in which you're inflamed, and if you're still inflamed, that's why these numbers are being altered. They have come back down in my case. Again, I've been doing lots for this. And what I'm doing now, as I said, this helped my long-term symptoms, but I still have this peripheral neuropathy and some joint pain and tinnitus. I've had tinnitus. Look, I'm Gen X. I'm like, I'm sorry, headbanger. Like I saw Metallica in concert several times. I mean, you're going to have tinnitus if you're, from that era. Anyway, I'm pretty sure that my sense of taste and smell hasn't really fully come back either. And as I'd mentioned in my other podcasts, I am experimenting with fast cycling to allow my stem cells to be created in my body. This is what happens over long term to heal. And there's a bit of evidence that it'll be helpful. Since starting it 2 weeks ago, I do notice that when I am fasting, which I am right now, everything improves, especially the tendinitis in the wrists and the Achilles tendon and the smell and taste. I understand too that one of the things that happens when you don't eat for a period of time, food does smell and taste more bright. That tells me that it's not, I mean, there's something working there. And so I think your nerves are heightened and probably being worked on. So I've also quoting a paper that discusses the benefits of fasting for neurological issues. Quote, in an era of rising healthcare costs and an increasing prevalence of neurological disease, the introduction of self-empowering, cost-free, okay, effective therapeutic options for a range of neurologic disorders would be a welcome addition to the armamentarium. That's a word, isn't it? Armamentarium, armament, arsenal, right? Of physicians. Today's most common neurological disorders are fundamentally characterized by defective metabolism on many levels. That's another one. I didn't even hit on that. That's the other reason why we're having so many problems here. Our metabolisms are messed TF up. They just are. And fixing that, resetting that by fasting is a huge way to address many underlying issues. Back to the quote. Given that fasting is a simple, multi-targeted, and essentially metabolic therapy with a healthy track record for treating a variety of neurological diseases in animals, this is an animal study, it holds promise as a treatment for analogous diseases in humans. Again, I'm going to Dr. Mindy Pels. She has human studies she's getting into. She's a lot. We're very simpatico. She started sooner than I did. I'm trying to catch up. But we're very alike in that way where it's like studies. This is what we're looking at. You know, there is evidence. And I linked the study there. If you are looking for some of the components mentioned in this podcast, you can access them in my anti-spike protocol on my full script, which I have linked here. So again, I'm giving you access to the protocol. You can look at it if you need something from it. Here's what I'm going to suggest. Long COVID is a complex and distressing syndrome with many factors driving it. High-dose thiamine is just one promising intervention that I have found that can alleviate many symptoms. That being said, again, for everybody who just wants to run off and get something, solely taking one B vitamin can throw off the rest of your B vitamin levels and is not advised. For a full review and analytical support, please schedule a call with me here, linked. So that will wrap it up. Again, the fasting update, I will probably just give you a fasting update on the regular now. So I had for the last 2 weeks, I on Monday and Tuesday did 24-hour fasts. So I would stop eating Sunday evening, not eat again until Monday evening, and then not eat again until Tuesday evening, followed by 17-hour fast. So I would do 17 hours and then what are we at for that? That's like a 5-hour, am I doing math right? 6-hour window, whatever it is, 7-hour window, where I'm able to eat. So I'll do like I'll do lunch and dinner, intermittent fasting. And I do that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And then on Sunday, I take off. This week, I'm trying to jumpstart my metabolism. I am not solely doing this to lose weight, but losing weight would be nice. The scale hasn't moved a lot, although my symptoms have improved. But so what I'm doing this week, I'm switching it up. And when you're fasting, this is why the cycling is important, because you have to try different things at different times and keep your body guessing. You know, once you get into a routine with things, you know, it kind of just stops working. Your metabolism gets weird. And so what I did this time is I am doing a 36-hour fast, which is supposed to help lose a couple pounds. I'm not trying to just lose weight. This is not me not eating, anorexia. It's none of that. This is very controlled. So what I did was I stopped eating last night. What was that? 6 p.m. And I won't eat until dinner tomorrow night. That's all. Not a big deal. So going today and tomorrow. I'm sorry, breakfast tomorrow. That's what it is. So I'm just not eating today. That's all. I ate last night. I'll eat tomorrow morning. Today I'm off. And that really helps a lot because that means I don't have to do anything. I still got to cook for my husband. He's coming along on this journey as soon as school stops. He's a school teacher, and summer, it's a little easier. He's not running, want to eat this and have a regular. I don't want to throw him off. That's the other thing. If you decide to get into fasting, ease yourself into it. If you want some guidance, I can help you there on that. I am working through some things. We'll be getting certified through Dr. Mindy on the way she does it, but I have enough background in it and doing it that I can certainly guide you through this. And I will be also doing a local workshop and 6-week workshop as well, going through like just a whole thing through the moon cycles for women, but men can come along. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot of basic education around fasting coming up too, and giving you progress and telling you what I'm going through. That being said, I will be creating a support group as well if I get enough of you guys interested. And that is one of those things that if you subscribe and you are a paid subscriber, that's what you'll get access to. You'll get access to the support group and some one-on-one with me, as well as special content around detoxing and fasting. That's what we're doing. So with that, that is it. I am Tanya Abatello. This has been Trust Your Gut with Tanya. Stay tuned and have a sparkling day. Also, Trust Your Gut with Tanya is a subscriber-supported podcast. If you're getting value, please consider subscribing, upgrading your subscription to paid, and sharing with others you feel would benefit. Thank you so much.